You're listening to the Hella Well with Danielle show, a podcast taking women of color on a journey exploring all things wellness and travel related. We're all about showing you how to put on your oxygen mask first and creating lasting self-care habits that will free you to travel the world and live the life you truly desire, and not one you have to fake loving. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. Now let's buckle up and start this journey. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Hello Well with Danielle podcast. I am your host, Danielle Washington, and we've all heard that saying, it's better to give than to receive. And there's a season of giving, and you feel like, when you're here with the things about giving, you get positive joy, positive feelings. But why isn't there a season of receiving? I kind of know why. But, I don't think there ever will be a season of receiving because a lot of us are uncomfortable with receiving. And the reason why I want to talk about it today is, if you don't know, I've talked about it previously, I help take care of my parents, and my dad's getting older. My dad's 82 and he's having some issues, and he's having a real hard time receiving help. And I'm just so frustrated some days, like literally low key the other day, I was driving him and I was so mad at him. I just kind of stopped the car to get him to stop talking. And I just didn't understand, why is it so hard for him to receive? I'm like, you've helped me and you've given a lot, so why can't you just receive? And then I had to step back and look at my own issues with receiving. I'm like, how are you sitting here judging someone else when you have your own issues, sister? And so, because for me, I'm like, I think about it like, I know I have issues receiving. Like, I want help, except I'm like, I think of it oftentimes, it's just easier to do it on my own. I may not trust the person by asking, like, why are they offering to help? What does that make me? How does that make me look if I receive? And, fear of being letting down. And it's safer to be on the giver side. It's easier to be on the giver side. A lot of us are doers and have that feeling of, we can give. But it also seems, a little bit more vulnerable being on the side of receiving. But giving and receiving is an energy exchange. It's like your breath. If you think about it, you breathe in, you breathe out. It's, it goes in and out. One doesn't happen without the other. Like if you hold your breath, you can probably die because you've disrupted the balance and the exchange of energy. And that's what giving and receiving is. And so if you're constantly giving, and not receiving, you're messing up the balance and you're disrupting the balance of energy. But we do it all the time. If I think about giving, it's just easier. It's just easier. We give up our time, we give up our possessions, we give up our energy, even to the point to where it's not in our best well-being to give, but we still give because we're like, that's what we're meant to do. We have a culture of giving. Giving is celebrated. But you need to remember, you cannot give without there being a receiver. And if we're like, oh, not it, to being a receiver, we're messing up the balance of energy. But a lot of us are comfortable. We are just uncomfortable with giving. Excuse me, we're not uncomfortable with giving. We're uncomfortable with receiving. And I think a lot of that, if you look at energy of giving and receiving in like kind of a masculine and feminine type of way, giving is a masculine energy. It's that outward energy. It's a let's do, let's go, let's get this. And it's like, go, go, go. And we, especially as Americans, and I think it just general, our culture is conditioned to go, go, go. Let's get this. Let's be productive. Let's give of our time, give of our energy, give of our just space. Like we are just do. That's what we do. And, especially if you're a perfectionist, I think we have this mentality of outwardly giving and it feels safe. Whereas receiving is more of a feminine energy, it's more inward. It's about, receiving, it's going with the flow, it's not needing to know. That took me a really long time to get to that point where I don't need to know the answer. Because I think with that masculine go, 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 it's that control. Like I need to know, I need to be able to control, I need to do. That's what I'm doing because, I'm giving because I know that I can control the give. You can't control the receiving. Well, I guess technically, I guess you can, but you can't be like someone like wants to give to you. You're like, no, give. Like, well, again, yeah, we do. We do that all the time. I don't know why my voice screeched, but it is what it is. But receiving is that energy of not needing to know, and it sometimes can feel uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable to be receiving because we're not being on the doing side. And it's just because it's not familiar to us. And it doesn't mean it's bad or wrong. There is no better to receive or to give. Like it's an equal exchange. And that mentality that we've been brought up to believe is, it's better to receive, to give than to receive is BS. Receiving isn't about expecting others to, give to you because you're more important or more deserving. It's not about being more important and more deserving. And I think that's something that we forget. It's about receiving because it's a joy for the person who's giving to see that you are able to humbly receive. It's about receiving without guilt, without neediness. It's about receiving without feeling like obligated, like, "Oh, dang, like, they gave to me, now I have to give to you." Because it's an exchange of energy, and if you stop one flow or the other, or you focus so much on, "I'm gonna give, give, give," you're disrupting the balance, and I get it. I get it because I have struggled with receiving. Receiving help, receiving compliments. It just sometimes I'm just like, it doesn't feel comfortable. And what I've come to realize is that uncomfortable feeling is another word, I hate that one word as well, but it's another word for resistance. Being uncomfortable receiving is just resistance to receiving. And, in a perfect world, we're able to exchange effortlessly, receiving, giving, and it comes with ease, but that's not the world we live in. And it just what I what I've come to learn is being uncomfortable with receiving is resistance, and resistance uncovers the problem. And when you uncover the problem, you start to uncover the need. And so if we start looking at the problem and the need behind this resistance, this uncomfortableness, this issue we have with receiving, some of the things I think about is again that ideal that, it's more noble to give than to receive. Like you're a better person because you give. And I think we have this mentality, it's like, season of giving. It's like, oh my God, if you're not giving in the season of giving, like who are you? Like, are you really a good person? And people have this notion that it's better to give. And so they're like, I don't want to be on the receiving side because what does that say about me? And you think about, it definitely doesn't go with, being the strong Black woman because it's that anti strong woman. Like, what does that say about me that I need someone to give to me? Like, does someone think I'm weak? Does someone think I'm more vulnerable because I need to receive? Or they think that I need to receive? Or that if I'm receiving, and what am I saying about myself? And it brings up a lot of old narratives we grew up believing, and a lot of it has to do with control too. Like we have this resistant thought process where it's like, I want to have 50 million customers, or I want to travel the world, but, but I want this, but I want that, but and we put that but in there. And every time we start putting that but in there, but, I don't have enough money, but I'm not worthy, you know, you can't manifest what you don't believe. You can't manifest what your belief support doesn't support. So when you start negating your desires, your manifestations with but, there's that underlying belief that you're not worthy. That's an underlying belief that story is like something's wrong with it. Receiving is negative. Receiving, we sometimes feel some kind of way about receiving. And so we deflect in so many different ways. And the resistance of receiving shows up in so many different ways. It shows up in us deflecting, minimizing, blocking compliments, explaining off like, oh, you look so cute. I'm like, oh no, no, my hair is like, it's not the way it's supposed to look. It's a bad day. And I do this all the time. And people will come by and say, oh, I love your hair, sis. I'm like, oh, it's a bad hair day. Like, no, it's not a good day. And I can't, not that I can't, I just choose because it's a choice. I say this all the time. Everything we do is a choice. I choose to minimize the compliment. I choose to explain it off. And we do this all the time. And it's a problem. And it's messing with our lives. It's messing with the big things we want. And when I say that not being able to receive and having an issue with receiving is messing with your life, think about manifesting. When you're trying to manifest all these big things, I manifest having a house on the beach with a really hot husband. We have amazing sex, and I'm just happy. That's a manifestation of my world. I don't know about y'all, but that's a manifestation of my world. But that's one of my big manifestations. But if I'm in the smaller things, the universe is showing me these different things and giving me things, and the universe is giving me things, not just people. The universe is giving me these things, but I'm blocking, I'm miniature. I feel like I'm like Wonder Woman with the arms, and I have all these shields that I'm blocking all these different things. The universe is confused, y'all. The universe is like, I'm trying to give you all these things, but you keep denying it. So I guess you're trying to tell me is you don't want this. You don't want this abundance. You want to be over here in survival mode, like it is what it is. And that's that mindset I think that we live in. When you live in it, it is what it is mentality. I'm just survive. I'm just trying to get by. When abundance comes your way, when receiving the opportunity to receive comes towards you, it's not just receiving, something physical, but receiving help. It could be receiving, nudges. It could receiving so many different things. Love, to receive love. But when those opportunities come our way and we're constantly blocking it, the universe is like, okay, I got you. You don't want this. So I'm gonna probably stop giving this to you. And then we're mad when our big manifestation isn't happening because we weren't in the mindset to receive. And like I know someone's out there saying, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm ready to receive my, my big manifestations. I want, the trips around the world. I want the career. I want to be a millionaire. And wanting and allowing, you're wanting to receive, wanting to manifest, and allowing manifestations, allowing yourself to receive are two different things. Focusing on getting into receiving mode, but not actually being in receiving mode are two different things. And we do this without even knowing it because, again, it's so in our culture, in our mind, like, we got to be the giver, we got to be the doer, we got to be the caretaker. We turn down offers of help, but we also want at the same time, we're like, I'm going to turn down this offer of help. But at the same time, we're like, I want to manifest more time for myself. And we're giving the universe these mixed signals. So, like when you are turning down someone offering to take care of your kids, your husband, your partner, offering to give you time for yourself, and you're turning it down. But at the same time, you're over here with affirmations and, prayers and all these spiritual things you're doing to say, I want more time for myself. The universe is like, I'm giving you this, but you're giving me mixed signals. So you have to be in the mode to receive. So to receive, you have to be in receiving mode. Otherwise, you're blocking that abundance, you're blocking that energy, and you're disrupting the flow of giving and receiving. And every day there's opportunities to receive. Every day, and we miss them. We miss the small things. But when you block again the small things, the small opportunities to receive, you're also blocking the bigger things to receive because the universe is like, well, I don't know what you really want. So I kind of confused. And that plays into those intuitive nudges we get. And I definitely was one person who, and I don't know, person who was, I still have my own issues. I reject intuitive nudges all the time. I think about, my recent dating situation was definitely blocking those intuitive nudges constantly. And they were giving me my ancestors, the universe, God, creator, whoever you want to talk, whoever is your person or persons, were giving me intuitive nudges that, sis, this ain't for you. Sis, I kind of think he's a liar. Sis, I think you need to be working on these different things in your life. Sis, I think it's like my universe was telling me all these different things. Like, you should really get into yoga. Getting into yoga was something that my intuitive nudge happened 3 or 4 years ago. I was like, no, I don't think, I feel like I heard something, but I don't know what it was exactly. And we block those nudges. And when we reject those intuitive nudges, which are gifts, which someone is giving, or we are being gifted, and someone's asking, the universe is asking us to receive, we're sending message to the universe is like, again, no, I think I'm going to stay here in survival mode. No, I'm going to reject that because I'm not, maybe I don't feel worthy. And that's something to ask, like, why are you rejecting some of these things? Is it that you don't feel worthy about it? Do you feel that, this is that you're weak, that it's, what is the mentality behind that? And figuring that out is a huge, huge thing. And that's one of the things I wanted to bring up. It's like, so, okay, the first part of it is awareness. The first part of getting into a more balance of giving and receiving and being able to be more comfortable with receiving and not have that resistance is being aware that, one, you have the resistance. I don't think my dad will ever get to that point, or if he does, he's never going to say it. But it has encouraged me to look at my own self and look in the mirror and be like, okay, I'm aware that I have some struggles with receiving that. Okay, that's my first part is awareness. Let's think about, well, how, like, okay, how is it showing up in my life? Am I not able to receive compliments? Am I not able to receive help? Why am I, and start asking the whys, 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 whys. And it's also about letting go of the need of control, the need of always needing to be the doer. Like, oh no, I got this. I could, and it, you know, feeling that, I need to be the one doing, so it gives me value. And for my father, I think that's a huge part of it is his value is tied to his productivity. And so when he is not the giver, if he's not in control, if he's not producing, he feels that, and this is my perception, he feels that it lessens his value. So when you're able to tap further into that feminine energy of receiving and allowing, you just show up differently. And it will help you having a more balanced energy of receiving and giving. But you also need to become more aware of the opportunities to receive and sit in it. So when someone says, "Hey, I love your earrings," take a moment, take a small breath in, breathe in, sit with it for 1 second, and say, "Thank you. Thank you." Not, "Oh, This, thank you. Simply say thank you and see how that feels. How does that feel in your body? There may be some discomfort, and that's why I encourage you to, if there's that discomfort, sit in it. See what shows up in your body. See where you feel, what you feel, and how you feel it. Because our body's always telling us stuff. So our body talks to us constantly, and it's giving us messages. And if you're able to finally listen to your body and understand the message and decode it, oh, that's such a beautiful thing. But allow yourself to receive and just test yourself. You're like, okay, you may internally be feeling like anxious, like, oh my God, I said, externally I said thank you and I sat with it. But internally, it's bothered me that I did this. But the more you do it, it will become easier. Again, it's a practice. This isn't like a one and done. Oh, I now am aware. I'm good. I've did it once and I'm set. No, I think this is a lifetime situation. It's a lifetime situation of understanding the dynamic of this energy flow. But you need to also ask yourself, what I was talking before, like, why am I uncomfortable? What are my limiting beliefs around this? Is it worth? Do I feel like I'm weak? What is it in my mentality that says that I just, well, I think I want to block when people want to give to me. And figuring that out. It's all our thoughts and our patterns can change, but you got to have the choice. You have to choose. You have to choose that you want this change. And again, the more you become aware of where you are and then start doing this awareness, then it's investigating well, why am I uncomfortable? Then you're getting to, you figured out there's the resistance, you've uncovered and it's showing a problem, and then figuring out what is that need. What need do I have around this? And that will help you get to the point of, okay, I can feel a little bit more comfortable with receiving. And by doing that, one of the things I love to do is make opportunities to receive happen. So what I did was I started creating a list of ways that I can feel supported or nourished by others. And that list was difficult to write. I won't lie. I was like writing and I'm like, all right. I feel that if I allow people to help me, if I tell people when I'm not okay, when I'm like, hey, can you send me Reiki? Because this is hurting me. And writing that list, I know where my uncomfort. So when I feel discomfort, I feel resistance. I feel it often in my chest. May feel a little tightness in my stomach, but I often feel it in my chest. My chest tightens up. And so that's where I feel discomfort and resistance. So I'm like, okay, so when I know I feel that tightness in my chest when someone says, I love your earrings, I love your hair, or you're just really, I love your podcast. Your podcast is changing my life. That's one of those things where I will say when people say, oh, what you're doing has changed my life. It's changed what I'm doing. And like, it's really helped me. I definitely have moments like, "Oh, it wasn't me, that's you." And again, it's that resistance. I feel that in my chest, and when I start feeling my chest tighten up, because I know that's where I feel resistance, that body feeling is when I kind of is like a kind of reminder of like, oh, wait, I think you're resisting something. So that listening to your body and having that ability to know where you feel discomfort will also help you be able to figure out where, like when you are resisting the opportunity to receive. So I encourage you to write a list of ways you can feel supported and nourished. And I think that it's been really helpful for me, but also reflecting about, you know, what does it mean to receive? What are your old habits and narratives that you're holding on to about receiving? Like, what are your thoughts and judgments that come up when you think about receiving? Are you feeling, does it feel guilt? Do you feel anxiety? Do you feel gratitude? And again, looking to where it shows up in your body, you know, and how does that energy of receiving feel? Like when you do receive, do you feel a certain way? Does it show up something different? Like, how do you react to receiving compliments? Is it easy? Do you feel gratitude? Or do you get the urge to minimize? I also encourage you to think about like, what's your history? What is your history with receiving love? Does it come with struggle? Does it come with hardship? And not just romantic love, friendship love. Are you not trusting yourself, your intuition? Are you not trusting people around you, which might be causing you to have issues with receiving? Because if you have issues with trust, that may feel like, well, I don't trust your reasons for wanting to give to me. I don't trust that you won't abandon me. And so that may be something that you might want to look into if part of the reasons why you may be having issues around receiving. Again, because if when we can't receive, we are messing up the flow. And I said this before, the universe is like, well, I don't really know what you want because you say this, but you do that. So I think I'm going to either wash everything out, or it's going to be that I'm just going to cut off trying to continue giving you stuff because you keep showing me that through your actions that you don't want to receive. And you may have a willingness to change, and it's a choice. The only way to see a difference in any of this is to change your habits and your thoughts. But the tighter we hold on to these old narratives, like, oh, it has to be the certain way. It's like, I gotta be the giver. I gotta be the giver. You're like that child who was just told, you have now a new bedtime and your bedtime's now 6 o'clock. I don't know about y'all, but bedtime at like before the sun went down really confused me. And I would act out as a kid. And that's what our ego is doing. That's what our mindset's doing when we try to change things. It's like, oh no, this isn't working for me. And all these things will come up and resistance will come up. So don't be surprised when you start feeling resistance, even though you're making these changes. It's because that's that growth work. There's going to be resistances, but it's able to be aware of that resistance and realizing that you can have the willingness to change, but you need to be in the receiving mode to allow for it to happen. You need to have that feminine energy of allowing, not needing to know the outcome, not needing to be like, well, why? Why is this person giving to me? Why? Just breathe it in, accept, and there, it makes a difference. I also find gratitude works really well. Like when you're in a mindset of gratitude, you show up differently and it's easier to receive. It's like learning how to say thank you. It's letting that energy to flow inward and receiving it as like a power boost. Like if you go to somewhere like Jamba Juice, and you're like, do you want a boost? Think about this receiving as just a boost to your energy. And I encourage you to practice, practice, practice. This isn't easy because we've been trained that it's better to give than to receive. I want there to be a season of receiving. I would love there to be a marketing campaign that says, this is a season of receiving. And think about that feeling of like when you receive love. Remember those moments when you receive love or a gift or receive help. Don't you want more of that? Don't you want to feel that yumminess that comes with receiving? And that comes with practice. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll get with it. Ultimately, the better you are at receiving, the better you are at giving. And that's what it is. So I just encourage you to try a little bit every week, figure out what are your thoughts around it? Why am I having resistance around it? And just allow yourself to breathe in, take a moment, and just feel the yumminess of receiving. I think it'll make a difference in your life. That's what I got for you this week. I hope to see you guys next week. And other than that, make sure if you aren't following us on social media, follow us on Instagram, Hello Well with Danielle podcast, as well as I have 2 events coming up next week. So next week is a pretty big week with the 2/22/22, and I'm doing with 2 people this sacred pause. It's a beautiful moment. Just allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself a moment to experience Qigong activation, sound healing, as well as Reiki healing. And then the next day on the 23rd is our monthly Reiki healing, where for 1 hour I give Reiki to the collective. So you can always go to hellowellwithdanielle.com/events and you can see all of our upcoming events. I love you. You are worthy to receive. You are worthy to receive. And if you've never heard it from someone else, you are worthy to receive. Have a good day. Ciao. Thanks for joining us this week on the Hello Well with Danielle show. Make sure to visit our website, hellowellwithdanielle.com, where you can subscribe to our show on iTunes, Spotify, and Amazon Music and never miss an episode. Also, you can follow us on social media at Hello Well with Danielle on Facebook and Instagram, and Hello Well Danny on Twitter. And if you like hella love the show and got some good nuggets out of it, know that I'm not too proud to ask for you to please leave a rating or review on iTunes so that we can continue to expand our reach and help other women of color. Again, thanks so much for listening, and I hope to see you next week. Ciao.